So let's look at constant classes and constant member functions. Constant classes are object variables which can be made to remain static using the const keyword. So let's look at an example. I'll define a class car. The following public elements: string, model, int, mileage, and a constructor car that receives string model and int mileage. It will assign the value of model to model and mileage to mileage. I'm also going to define a setter function, void set model value, string model, model equals model. So that's my class car. I'm going to define an object from the class car. So car, my car, Toyota 54. And if I wanted to assign a value to it or update my model value, I can call set model value of Nissan. I can print it to see how that looks. Now I will see that it was updated. So if I run this, I can see that my car value model was changed from Toyota to Nissan. Now if I wanted to create an object for it to never be edited, I can use the const keyword. So I can define an object const car, my const car, and then pass in the constructor values. So Honda 45. And I can see car.model. I can print out to see what that looks. And I'll see that I've defined a new object with Honda. And just to show you that when I use the const keyword to create this object, I won't be able to edit any of its attributes. So I can my const car set model value, say it's BMW. If I run that, I'll get an error because I can't update a constant object. So that's an example of defining a object to be a constant using the const keyword. What if all I wanted to do was print out some information? I can define a function, print model, and all it does is print out model value. So you can see here that my constant object couldn't even access this print model function. So a constant object, none of its members are made available outside, none of its functions. So what I could do is add a const keyword. So right after I've defined my function, const, and then the code block, if I run that, you can see that I can now access this function through my constant object. Now let's see if we define the constant for a function that does manipulate elements of a class. So if I add the constant here and I uncomment this, so my code will now try to set a model value. If I run that, I'll get an error. I'm not allowed to do that. So a constant object can never change, can never update its value once it's been constructed, even if I put the constant keyword. And a constant object can't access functions that, for example, print statements, so don't manipulate attributes of the object unless you add the const keyword. So that's an example of working with constant objects and constant member functions. You may wonder, well, are there scenarios when I'll actually need to use this? There are. So in cases where you want to create an object only once and construct information in it and not edit it. So for example, if you're retrieving information from a database and you don't want to update that information and you don't want to accidentally update that information, then it's excellent practice to indicate your intentionality that you're working with an object that has constant elements that won't change, that won't be updated, and you only want to access them for reading, and you don't want to update any of its elements. So that's an example when you're dealing with information that you don't want to update throughout your program and you don't want to allow for accidental updates.